In George Orwell's novel Animal Farm, there's a horse called Boxer in it, and this horse, his answer to every single question is, I will work harder, I will work harder. Every setback, every obstacle, everything that's put before him, all the tyrannical, horrible stuff that's done to him, his answer is, I will work harder. And guess what happens? At the end of his life, he's exhausted, broken, and he's just sent to his death. I think the moral of the story is that in certain, systems, working harder is not the simple answer to it. There's many other things you can do. And especially in America, that seems to be the only thing that is taught. It's good, it's helpful for sure. But hustling harder and harder and harder is not the only thing that will bring you success. There's a lot of other things that you have to do, other keys to success. And I think most people don't realize this. And, it's rather unfortunate. There's plenty of people I know who work very, very hard. They work 12-hour days, but they're working 12-hour days not smarter, just 12-hour days harder at, a minimum wage job. And so there's more to it than that. And, that's why I made this video. This video is a book review on essentialism, but it's not really a review. It's a video to get you to read essentialism, because I don't believe in book reviews or book summaries. Essentialism is an amazing book for anyone who can't prioritize, who is always, doing this, doing that, trying to do it all. And I thought that this was a simple concept that you just listen to and then you do. I thought, you just have to understand, just focus on what's the most important and don't do anything else. And that's that, But in reality, I learned through this book that this is far from the truth, and there's so many things that need to be cleared up and elaborated on to really get you to doing what's most important. And this is so important because I know for a fact that some of the most successful people of our generation have emphasized focus as the number one thing for their success. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, one of the first times they met, they were asked by Bill Gates' dad, what is the number one thing that you think has attributed to your success? And Bill went first. He thought about it for a while, and then he said, focus. I spent all this time focusing on computer science and programming, just focusing purely on programming for years upon years, because it was the one thing I knew I could be world class at. And Warren Buffett, he thought about it for a little bit too, and he said, you know what, I think it's the same exact thing. I focused on what I had to do. And that just blows my mind. Now, I learned this, I heard this story numerous times a while ago, quite a while ago, maybe a year or two ago. And I heard it many times since, and I knew the power of focus. And I read a lot of other business books telling me to prioritize. In fact, there's this one good book that tells me to prioritize into these quadrants, these 4 quadrants. And I think it's a great tip for you guys. Basically, the quadrants are important but not urgent, important but urgent, not important and not urgent, and not important and urgent. And basically, once you organize it into these quadrants, you want to do the ones that are the highest priority and the greatest of urgency, and then ignore all the rest for now. And then once you finish that, you move on to important but not urgent, and basically you forget the rest. Like, you never want to do anything not important and not urgent, and a lot of people are doing stuff like that. So I read all these books, I did all these things, and yet I still found myself pulled in all directions. I still found myself in certain instances doing a bunch of everything, because that's kind of how I am. I find this interesting, I find this interesting. Oh, maybe this will help me one day. Oh, this will help me. And I found that I'm not the only one. A lot of people are exactly like this, and they're overwhelmed. And as the book says, they are going an inch in every direction. And ultimately, not going anywhere. Warren Buffett and another billionaire, T. Boone Pickens, and a really good money manager, Monish Pabrai, they say that you want to be an inch wide and a mile deep, rather than a mile wide and an inch deep. And I can't tell you how many other entrepreneurs have said the same thing. Marnie Smith, she's a very famous Facebook expert. She's a Facebook expert and Facebook ads expert, and she said that she carved her path because rather than what she saw everyone else doing, which was being a generalist, being an expert at a broad area of different interests, she went deep at the one thing that she thought she could do very well, which was Facebook. And at the time, she was doing all sorts of other social media, but because she carved herself in that niche as the go-to expert, going a mile deep, everyone went to her. So I just think that's very important. Now, again, there's another whole debate about, is it the best thing in the world to be a specialist? Not exactly. I do think some level of broad interest and different mental models is very important. And in fact, Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's partner, has emphasized the importance of having multiple mental models to help you along. But that is a debate for another day. The book Essentialism is really helpful because it really opens your eyes to what is really important and elaborates and shares it to you in different ways. It brings a few studies to the picture, it brings a few stories to the picture, and it goes into detail on how and why you should be an essentialist, as they call it. Someone who just focuses on what is absolutely essential. And in all honesty, there's more to getting someone to prioritize and focus than just to tell them to do that. You may have hidden mental psychological barriers. There may be a lot more, elaboration needed. And I think that's what the book does. It helps you break it down. And I'm so fortunate that, I heard about this book numerous times and from numerous sources, and I eventually, quite quickly, picked it up and read it because I knew that this was a bit of an issue, and also it's, quite an interesting book. It's a quick read. I guarantee you, it's a very quick read. And I actually listened to most of it on audiobook, which is an even quicker listen. It's about 4 hours and faster if you listen to it at double speed. It's such a great book that I am for sure going to read it again or listen to it again in the future, hopefully. And what it does is it breaks apart these, reasons why you aren't essentialist or reasons that hold you back. So things that you say to yourself like, oh, I have to do that. When in reality, you don't have to do that. And that's a huge, because so many people, they let alone can't differentiate between what is essential and what truly is essential. And I mean, that's the huge problem. Most people, they do this because they think they have to. And that's just one example of the multiple psychological phenomenons in the book that is just broken based on, me going through this book. And I guess the final thing I have to say is that this book, it really exemplifies what Warren Buffett does best. And I was just blown away because I don't even think the author understands it. But Warren Buffett has been one of the richest people in the world consistently for decades upon decades. And, some people think of him as a stock trader, but he is not a stock trader. He does not do the short term jumping in and out of the market, based off fluctuations of, ticker symbols. He buys long-lasting companies. He doesn't do like this short-term crap that may make you, a quick buck here and there, maybe $1 million if you're lucky. He has always gone for long-term value, which has made him billions by buying reputable companies that he knows, likes, and trusts from honest, ethical people like Coca-Cola or Nebraska Furniture Mart, and holding it for decades and letting that grow into something amazing. And why I think this book embodies what he does is he truly is an essentialist. And, Bill Gates, he himself has claimed that he has learned a lot from Warren Buffett, because as he first started meeting Warren Buffett, he learned that Warren Buffett really, in his work days, he cuts out all the crap. He doesn't do anything he doesn't need to. And by doing so, he frees himself up for a lot of free time. And in addition to that, he cuts out the clutter. You know, a lot of CEOs are doing this and that and this and that because they think it will marginally help the company, or, you know, in some way it will be important. And they go to meetings and all this stuff, and they get overwhelmed. And half of the stuff, maybe 80% of the stuff, isn't doing anything to the company. And it's just overwhelming them, overstressing them, and causing insomnia. Warren Buffett, on the other hand, he's such a master of prioritization, and he literally goes to no meetings. He cuts out anything unproductive, and he really just lets people do what they do best. And that is just so amazing to me. And he really has structured his life to do what he loves to do what does the most impact to him. And that level of time management is something that not a lot of people can do, you know, and he understands it so well. He knows certain things are timeless, certain things are priceless. So therefore, you know, he will spend time with his grandchildren. But, you know, he might get a very important business call, or, you know, business decision or business meeting. And, you know, some of these things are not truly important, and they're wasting of time and so forth. So he makes sure to either not go, or he cuts it short, and he is, you know, he will be very stringent with how much time he's giving that person. This guy is truly a master of utilizing his time, and he values it so, so much. And that is unfortunately something that most people don't do. You know, the majority of young people, they're screwing around, wasting a ton of time doing stuff that's really just wasting their lives, that they may regret once they're old. And, you know, that's gonna suck for them in the future. And, you know, it goes deeper into what's productive, what's not productive. And that's a debate I've talked about in other videos quite well, that, you know, requires more explanation. For instance, if you're a musician listening to music on your iPod for hours a day, is that really a waste of time? It's not if it will one day bring you to, you know, great success as a musician, or you're already established, accomplished musician making millions of dollars. That's not really a waste of your time, because it inspires you, it gives you feedback, gives you ideas for future composition of music. However, if you're, you know, someone who probably will never become this, and you're pretty much using it as an excuse to waste hours every day, and, you know, the truth is you don't have the skill or talent or drive or whatever else to become that, you know, maybe it is a waste of a time. Same thing goes for video games. A lot of people, millions, want to become the next PewDiePie or the next competitive League of Legends video gamer, and make hundreds of thousands of dollars. So they put in all this time trying to get that to occur, when in reality it's not going to, and it is a waste of time. You know, again, that's a debate for another day. I go much more into depth about that in another video. But thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you check out the book Essentialism. I will leave links in the description if you want to read the book, review it, or buy it, and learn more about the book. I'll see you in my next video. Peace.